Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio. If you're ready to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and bra straps, enjoy a listen. Here's Sheila.
If you're just tuning in, this is NBC's Sheila Mac Show here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. I'm your host, Sheila Mac, and today we have a special show for you. That's right, just for you. We are talking all about happiness and how to create this life integration and work integration happiness where you are happy and you are in charge of what your days, weeks, and life looks like. So I am starting off the show in collaboration with John C. Morley, and he will be sharing a lot about happiness. Later on in this episode, I do have a special free gift at the end of the show for everyone listening, and I also have another special guest later on who is a 9-time bestseller and also on Forbes, in Forbes many times. So that will be later on, and she will continue the conversation on integrating happiness into your business life. So without further ado, here is John C. Morley. He is a polymath and passionate educator, inspiring self-discovery. John is a serial entrepreneur, engineer, marketing specialist, talk show host, member of the U.S. press agency, writer, video producer, and president of his local Chamber of Commerce, a 501c3. John has inspired children and adults of all ages to find their passion. Through his personality and knowledge, he gets people excited to learn about themselves, others, and of course, science. You can quickly check some of the past experiments he has conducted by going to the YouTube and typing in Science Fridays with John or visiting believemeachieve.com to see many of his other creations. Check out some of our fabulous creations, and he will have a link that he will share in the show notes, and also his own special offer regarding his new upcoming masterclass. All right, stay tuned and welcome to the show, John.
Well, hi, Sheila. Thank you very much for another warm welcome. It's always a privilege and pleasure, to be collaborating with you here on your show. And of course, I have another great topic to share with you and all of your wonderful viewers and listeners. If you haven't noticed, there is a QR code at the top right-hand corner. If you're watching us, you can go to that QR code and you can actually visit my link tree. But if you don't see the QR code because you're listening only, well, then go to believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. All right. So everyone says to me, hey, John, what do you do? So I want to just share what I do because I think that's really important. So here's what I do, everyone. I actually help people tell a story that leads to them growing a more scalable and, of course, profitable business. Now, I typically work with companies that bring in between 5, 10 million or more, and I can help them whether it's in video, whether it's in press releases, whether it's in, doing articles, news blogs, social media, because I am a member of the International Press, and I've written close to almost 300,000 words in the last few months. So definitely love to help you guys. You can reach out to me by just calling me at 973-291-6271. My extension is 108, or you can visit orbitalmediahub.com, and of course, you can click on the Contact Us button and let us know how we can help you, and we'll be happy to do that. So let's get into our master topic, shall we? Our master topic is pretty awesome, everyone. Are you ready for our master topic? All right. So our master topic is something that may elude everyone. And I know you're probably saying to me, hey, John, is this relevant to me? I think the answer is yes. And so here's the master topic, everybody. You ready for it? Our master topic is something that I know you're going to really appreciate. All right? And here it is. Unlocking happiness. Yeah. unlocking happiness, because when we unlock happiness, we start to transform, which many of you may know, that could transcend cultures, borders, and backgrounds. It can be elusive to the state of being where we'll all strive to achieve it, yet it often seems to just be out of our reach by just a few millimeters or just an inch. What if the key to lasting happiness lies not in chasing external sources of pleasure, but in understanding ourselves on a deeper level? Today, what I'm hoping to have you guys understand is that it's about us. It's about who we are at our core, our heart, our mind, our body, and yes, our soul for those of you that go that far. Happiness starts with us having self-awareness. So the pursuit of external happiness is where a lot of people venture these days. That could be a car, that could be money, that could be a new home, other possessions. Now, I'm not saying that these things are bad, okay? What I'm saying is we have to first figure out who we are as a person, all right? Society's influences on our perception of happiness can sometimes make us sad. You know, maybe we see our neighbor or we see someone else that has something we don't, and we immediately equate the fact that, you know, I'm not good enough. I don't have that. So you may not have it yet, but you can get it if you want it. The catch is to remember that you have to be in alignment with yourself and what you want. So everything you want, ladies and gentlemen, already exists. It's like tuning into this radio station, KCAA, or going to YouTube and getting on the frequency. When we're at the frequency of what we want, it just happens. Now, societal pressures can frustrate us because they make us believe that the perception is our reality. We know perceptions become a reality, but if there's a perception we don't like and it makes us unhappy, don't put energy into it. It's really simple. Now, there are a lot of myths, material possessions, and external achievements as sources of lasting happiness. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have these external sources or, you know, get these external things that might really make you feel happy. But it's not these external things. It's not the car. It's not really the relationship. It's not the money you have, okay? It's not that fame. It's you. And it's your purpose that's defining you to be all you can be and to become a better version of yourself. If you've got people and they're only hung up on the external worlds, chances are they're going to crash and burn because they're so caught up in doing what the Joneses are doing. If they don't have what the Joneses have, they're going to believe that their life is nowhere. So it's like we're on this treadmill and we chase external pleasures, and that can lead us to dissatisfaction. I could be talking about a variety of things. This is a G show, so I will keep it G. But it could be a variety of things and a variety of pleasures in our lives. And we might chase these thinking that this is all my life is. So if your life is just about only the money in your bank account, if your life is only about what job you have, if your life is only about your relationships, if your life is only about what can I buy tomorrow, okay, if it's only about that, then you're not going to grow. I'm not saying you can't buy things or you can't get things. I like to get things all the time, but we have to realize that these things don't define us. They're nice to have, okay, and we have to be grateful for them, but they don't shape who we are. And if we allow these things to solely mold us into what they are, then we lose focus on who we are as ourselves. So, chasing external pleasures is very similar to being on a treadmill, okay, where there's a carrot, and the carrot's here, and you're trying to run to the carrot, but you can never get close enough to it because the treadmill keeps moving, right? The treadmill keeps moving, keeps going, and the carrot keeps dangling. You can't quite get it, and you get frustrated. So there's a point in time, ladies and gentlemen, where we become so frustrated that we just give up. Now, it's not because we're not intelligent. It's not because we don't want it. It's because we get focused on a target that isn't really what we want. Now, we might think that it's the money. We might think it's the relationship, but really it's what the money, it's what the relationship gives us. It gives us freedom. It gives us a mission. It gives us a purpose in life. So if you chase external happiness, you're going to be chasing it your entire life. Now, again, I'm not saying that you can't have external happiness. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go to get awards. I'm just saying don't make that be the main reason you live. You guys know my main reason for living. It's to become a better version of myself and help everyone else become better versions of themselves. Now, there's something called self-awareness. We have to understand our values, our beliefs, and our priorities. So let's talk about that for a moment. Our values. Are we a person that operates from a high level of integrity, moral credibility? Are we someone that is accountable and does what we say we're going to do? Do we know what our values are? Do we know what our beliefs are? And what are our priorities? Maybe we say, well, I have to do this, I have to do that. And you're like, well, I have to get this car. But maybe the first priority is connecting with your inner self and realizing that yourself has a mission. It has a purpose. And so when we meditate, which is one of my favorite things to do, the role of self-reflection is identifying our personal sources of joy. So what are your personal sources of joy? Maybe it's sitting with your dog. Maybe it's sitting with your family. Maybe it's making a cake or cooking dinner, or it could be going on a trip. Now, it's not the trip that is really causing it, but it's the whole experience of it. Maybe it's the experience of you becoming more grateful with yourself and everyone else around you. So when we start to become self-aware, we begin to cultivate emotional intelligence to navigate life's challenges. And let's face it, life can be challenging, right? I've always said I'm grateful for life and the challenges that get thrown to me, the lemons that I get thrown, because I always will turn them into lemonade. We have to look at every single setback that we've ever had and ever will have as a lesson to be an accelerator to get us toward our goals. The lessons happen so we can understand where we went wrong. Kind of like a GPS, right? Have you ever been in a car and it says, in 0.4 of a mile, make a right turn, then make a left turn on Walnut Street. And then what happens if you're self-aware, who we are? We can do that by focusing on our breath. We can do that on meditating. We can do that on being grateful. This leads us to understand now and actually see, feel, and believe that there's more to our life than what's outside. So what happens outside of us is what people see, and that all comes out because of who we are inside ourselves, our core, our heart, our mind. If I said to you, we need to define your unique happiness blueprint, you'd be like, huh? John, what are you talking about, a happiness blueprint? Well, happiness blueprint is where we figure out what is it that brings unlimited joy in my life. Is it going and having a piece of chocolate? Is it taking a walk? Is it reading? Is it sharing? Is it educating others? Is it volunteering? Okay? What is it for you? I love to sail. Is it sailing? Is it golfing? Is it tennis? Is it soccer? Is it a plethora of other sports? Is it hanging out with your friends? Right? What makes you happy? So if somebody said to me, what makes me happy? I love to get up every morning. I love to hold that gratitude rock, and I love to be grateful for all that I have. And I also love to look at any challenges I've had and say, look, I know this happened to me. I know it wasn't the greatest way, but hey, I can tell you that I've learned from this, right? And when you learn from something, just like Thomas Alva Edison did, he didn't find one way that our light bulb could work. He found 999 ways that it would not. So why is it people give up or they don't develop their success blueprint? Because they expect it to happen right away. You've all heard the analogy that we have to plant our seeds, cultivate them, which is to fertilize them, water them, and give them. That gratitude, okay, or that action will start to ascend from the soil. So we've all planted seeds. I think people get upset because they've been planting for years, but they don't see a harvest. You see, the difference between gets a growth. Another one plants seeds and doesn't plant anymore. So what's the difference? So the one that got growth expected there to be rain, and there was. We've talked about this before. In order to manifest a promise, you have to have a desire, strong, a belief, and expectancy. The one that didn't see growth didn't expect it to happen. And when we don't expect something to happen, we're not tuned to that frequency. Now, we might get to that frequency and we might not be clear on it because it might be a little hazy, but we're going to get that frequency. That frequency is going to make the difference in our life. So when we talk about a blueprint, we have to know what activities and what experiences and what relationships bring us joy. If there are people in our lives that don't bring us joy or they frustrate us, don't hang around them. If there are things you're doing in life and you find that they're not bringing you blissful amounts of joy, stop them, okay? When we align our life choices with what makes us feel good, we live our happiness blueprint. Now, we can always tailor it. We can always change our blueprint in life, right? But remember, a blueprint of this type are the things we're feeling. So what makes you feel good every day? Maybe you love getting up. Maybe you love, like I do, I love gratitude. Maybe you love to pray. I love to do that. Maybe you love to take a shower. Maybe you love to get on the scale, or you love to do your BMI take, or you love to measure your O2 like I do to see what my levels are on my burning fat, my burning carbs, and how many and how much. So these are things that are not stressful for me. These are things that keep me grounded and motivate me to keep being better. So let's dive into gratitude. Gratitude can shift our perspective, because that's what life is. Life is a bunch of perspectives and perceptions. Life is not what other people see, it's what you see. It's what you make it to be. And so when we start to shift our perspective, like I said, we turn the lemons into lemonade, we will instantaneously, like that, boost our happiness. Now, we can't fake it. We have to really feel it. Practice mindfulness and the impact of just taking those few moments a day and just enjoying the world the way you want it to be. Incorporate gratitude and mindfulness into your daily life, and I promise you, friends and colleagues, it will change and reshape your life. So you're probably saying, hey, John, well, if it's so simple, why don't people do it? You know, it's a great question. I think a lot of people in our world are so driven under the premise that everything needs to be short-term gratification. So long-term gratification is short-term gratification. We talked about this before. Long-term gratification means I'm doing something right now for the immediate benefit right now. However, long-term gratification might put off the immediate pleasure, but it will give me even more rewards and a better slice of chocolate cake, or you could have an entire pie. Slice of chocolate cake, 125 calories. The entire slice that you normally shouldn't eat, 485 calories or more. So when we eat that smaller piece of pie, we are exercising our choice to enjoy a little bit of it, but the longer term gratification, which takes time, is that we're healthier. Short term gratification is amazing because you're like, oh, I ate this cake and I just feel great and I keep wanting to eat more. But then you know what happens? You feel like you're bloated. Like, I don't want to eat anymore. I don't feel good. And you start putting weight on. And you have no one to blame, ladies and gentlemen, except yourself, because you believe that if you get something quickly, it must be the right thing. I'm here to tell you that long-term gratification might not be what you want because you don't want to wait. You're impatient. A lot of people are impatient. So if we are patient and we allow our intuition to guide us, we'll be a lot happier as a human being. So when we think about this, the next thing that connects to it is relationships and social connections. When we are in a state of bliss around people, and these people, let's say, are connecting with us well, we are living our happiness blueprint. When we're around people and they're negative and they don't want to change, and we've suggested, hey, you know, can I help you? Maybe we've done this one or two times. When it happens on the third time, I'm like, hey, dude, I always loved hanging with you, but I don't really want to hang around with you anymore. You're always negative and you don't really want to change. So remember, we can't make others change, and you shouldn't want them to change. People should change because of their own choice. Others, even if we suggest something to them, if it becomes their idea, they're all on board to do it. So having a meaningful relationship will make you extremely happy. Someone that is in alignment, positive connection, what did Dale Carnegie say? First thing is to learn their name and say it properly. Maybe you know their name by now, but to strive to become genuinely interested in that other person. If you don't do this from the heart, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to show. And people are going to see that you're really not true. That you're operating from a pretense all about yourself. I'll give you an example. Let's talk about HR. Now, you guys know I own a few companies, but let's say, for example, you're working for a company. And the HR manager is supposed to do certain things for you. And every time you talk to him or her, they're always brushing you off the phone. They're not able to talk to you because, oh, I'm so busy. And they're always making it like their life is more important than talking to you. What does that mean? I'm not talking about just once, I'm talking about several times. Now, I've had people like this I've worked with in past jobs that I had before I've had my companies. And these people are after one thing. You know what that is? External happiness, money, pats on the back from their company. They don't care about you. They care about their bottom line. That's important to understand. The relationships take nurturing, they take empathy, they take compassion, and they take a genuineness that you want to make the relationship better. I get people say, oh, I want to make this better. And I come right to them and say, look, I know that's what you're saying, but I know that's not what you want. So please don't lie to me with some elaborate weaves of Webbery, because you and I both know that you're just trying to get something out of it. And that's not going to be something that's going to be the greater good for all concerned. And they're going to be like, huh? That's right. When you do something for the greater good of all concerned, everyone's on board. But there are going to be some people that are always going to be beating to their own drum. These people are the lone wolves. These people are the ones that don't understand that you have an important role in society, and that is to live a life of happiness. I said this before, no one has the right to make you feel inferior about yourself. And everything and everyone you're with should give you a state of joy. Everyone. When you're living in a state of joy, personal growth and purpose just appears. Your personal growth transforms into more happiness for yourself and for others. Your purpose and your mission may evolve and change over time, but when it's in alignment with your daily actions, this is when you get the support of others. The satisfaction of continuous learning and self-improvement is paramount and priceless. I always say, if you're not learning, you're dying. We've all had obstacles in our lives before. Barriers such as stress, anxiety, negative thoughts, rumors that get spread about us. But the most important thing to do is not to retaliate, not to throw the ball back at them and hit them. It's to kill them with kindness. And then, if we see that it's still not making a dent, then it's time to say, goodbye. Always do things politely. Coping strategies and techniques for managing life's challenges might seem out of reach, but you can understand that somebody else in the world wants the best. And when they reach out to you in, let's say, a non-friendship capacity, more of a business type capacity, and you're not totally friends yet, this can be very stressful. So how do you handle it? I think the best way to handle it is knowing that you're here to do the best for all concerned. And leave the choice up to them. Because if you're giving somebody an opportunity to empower and better their lives or their business lives, they're going to say yes. Now, they may not today, they may not tomorrow, but they will come to their senses. You can also seek professional help when necessary. Obstacles appear so that we have an indication that maybe we're going down the wrong path, or maybe we need to course correct like the GPS does for us. But obstacles are not meant to frustrate us or demotivate us. They're meant to empower us so that we can dig deeper into our mind and heart and come up with a solution. If you find that the obstacles are demotivating you, then you're totally on the wrong path. Our life is about a continuous journey to success of sustainable happiness. We need to embrace the idea that happiness is an ongoing journey. It's not a destination. And when we decide in our heart and mind that we want to be happy, regardless of what's happening in other people's lives, we can do that. We have to set realistic expectations and learn from these setbacks. Like I told you, when we get lemons, figure out how to make them lemonade. Lemonade tastes great. I think people don't want to do this because it takes work. It's uncomfortable. And I said before, ladies and gentlemen, in order to be successful, we need to practice becoming uncomfortable. And when we do this, we'll learn. And when we've, let's say, acquired a new lesson, we'll then be able to clear that board, like I said in the video games once before. When we master a skill, we clear that board, like that. Celebrate the small victories and find joy in the present moment. How can you do that right now? You're listening to me on this show and you're grateful, and you also know that there's a couple nuggets in here that you can take away to apply directly to your life to improve it or other people that you care so much about. Because there are going to be people on your path that are going to try to trip you up. Why doesn't matter. You're on a mission. You're on a journey. And when people do this to you, it's important that you course correct. So what's the conclusion, ladies and gentlemen? Understand what makes us happy. It's not a one-size-fits-all endeavor. It's a deeply rooted, personal, evolving process that requires self-awareness, reflection, and a commitment to living in alignment with our values and priorities. By delving into the intricacies of our own happiness blueprints, practicing gratitude and mindfulness, nurturing meaningful relationships, and pursuing personal growth, we can unlock the profound, mysterious, hidden parts in our mind that will allow us to connect to unlimited, lasting happiness forever, which we're all looking for. Remember, happiness is not a destination, it's a lifelong journey worth embarking on. Hey guys, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. Remember what I do, everyone. I actually help people tell a story that leads to them growing a more scalable and profitable business. And I typically work with companies that bring it around 5, 10 million or more that have a story that has never been shared. And before I do hand this back over to Sheila, I want to let you know that I got my iPhone 15 Pro Max. I was very happy to get that. I ordered it last Friday, and now I have it this Friday I got it, which was actually the 20, I believe that was actually the 22nd. And I want to let you know, there's the iPhone 15, iPhone 15 Plus, which is just made out of steel, and then there's the iPhone 15 Pro and iPhone 15 Pro Max, which is made out of titanium and some other cool space colors. But only the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the iPhone 15 Pro have this little action button. You no longer will have to fight for that little toggle to turn off your ringer. If you hold this down, you'll feel a little haptic pulse. And that haptic pulse, 3 pulses, mean that your phone is in silence mode. If I hold it again, it'll go back to ring. If I touch it once, it lets me know the state of it. Again, if I hold it down, it'll basically vibrate 3 times in my hand, the haptic pulses. If I hold it again, it'll vibrate once, and I'll see the ring notice. So there's lots more I want to share with you about the iPhone, and I would encourage you to go to Gentlemen, is pretty cool. That article is the one that I know you guys all want to read, and it's entitled iPhone 15 Series, Which Will You Choose? But the title of the actual article is the iPhone 15 Series Specifications and Features. Check it all back with you next week for another compelling, inspiring journey. And remember to definitely check out my daily podcast, which you can find at believemeachieve.com. There's so much great stuff. We just cracked over 11,000 downloads. I am so immensely grateful for all of you. And we've just launched the brand new J More Tech Talk Shows podcast. We had the video, but now we just created a podcast. So really grateful for that. Sheila, thank you so much. I'm going to turn this over to you. Remember, everyone, when you're thinking about being happy, you have to start from within, because if you're looking for other people to make you happy, you never will be. You have to be the source of your own happiness. I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, and we're going to catch you on another collaboration.
Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, and welcome everyone on LinkedIn Live and the other social channels. This is the Sheila Mack Show. It will be going to NBC's KCAA Radio as well. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today we have a very special guest that I'm interviewing. I'd like to introduce you to Tracy Repchuk. She has 27 appearances in Forbes. She is a 9 times #1 international best-selling author with Wiley Publishing. She's world-renowned speaker in over 39 countries, an award-winning entrepreneur, writer, and speaker, including awards from Senate Assembly, the White House, and President Obama. She started a software company in 1985 at the age of 19. Pioneer on the internet since 1994, invited member of Amazon Influencer and LinkedIn Advisor programs, and she's been the featured expert in over 22 national and local TV shows, ABC, NBC, Fox, CBS, and much more. She was also featured in 3 motivational movies, and she's the host of Reach Millions on TV, on Roku, Apple, Amazon, and podcast, and many more. So, all right, Tracy, welcome to the show. It's an honor to have you as a special guest.
Well, thank you, Sheila. I'm excited to be here.
And I like to start each show off by asking if you could share about a time in your business or personal life where you experienced a tough situation and how you got back on track.
Well, I could kill decades with those stories. After being in business almost 40 years, there really isn't anything that I haven't encountered, but I'll give you one in the early days because I started a software company at the age of 19, and I did it with my college boyfriend. So, in he came and we started this company, and it was, going that fairy tale route, made our first million by the time I was like 21, started to buy the cars and the properties. He proposed, we're going to get married. Yay. Life is brilliant. It was my fairy tale dream. And then 2 weeks before the wedding, he tells me that he's gotten someone pregnant and he's going to be marrying her. So, really early on, I experienced not only a double partner betrayal, but, devastation. I mean, I could have just curled up into a ball. That's really what I wanted to do. But I still had to show up to the office every day, face him, see her, watch this whole situation unfold while I tried to hold together the pieces because, at that time, you're torn between still in love and picking up the pieces of your life and being in complete devastation. And so, yeah, crazy way to start.
Wow, that sounds incredible and very hard, definitely. But it's always better to get your heart broken young.
Well, I've had it done a few times, but lessons learned.
That's true. That's true. They're teaching us for something better. That's the thing.
I got my dream right now. So, great on the story. 28 years of marriage to my literal soulmate. So it's beautiful.
Perfect. All worked out. That is great. And so you started a software company at 19 years young. I mean, we could have been best buds because I was out there. I bought my first triplex when I was 19 and started
I bought a duplex. Yes.
And started gift stores at 23. And then I was making millions too. So bought the building.
So you started a gift store. Get this. So I was a software company. I started the software that ran gift stores where you could scan and barcode at trade shows and people could order all your stuff.
Yes, I worked with Step One Solutions, who was one of the first. They networked the Staples Center when they first opened. And that's exactly when I got my first point of sale, which may have been yours.
It's funny. Yeah, I started doing point of sale, and it just lucked into that industry, which I loved because I love gifts. I love shopping. It's so great.
Yes, and it's so much better when you're running the store because then you know what it really costs, and you can negotiate all these deals. And it was a fun time. And yes, so that is wonderful. And what are you doing today? I'd love to hear about. I mean, you've got a lot to unpack with your bio, 9 bestsellers and all the things that you've created in your life.
Yeah, well, it's very interesting. You go through so many transitions of who you are, what you want to do, who you want to serve. And it's really interesting because where I am right now is totally helping people kind of build their legacy, and really kind of take them to that next step of growth, and really taking them through that moment from, maybe they're totally successful, but not satisfied, kind of not fulfilled. And I really align your purpose-driven message to your destiny. And it's been something that I've been playing with since I was 3 years old, or 3 to 5 years old. And due to a near-death experience that happened back then, and it's all coming to fruition now.
So it's really a heart-based program that you're creating here to help people. That's nice.
It is, and it's just so exciting that finally I've almost grown into the ability to be able to take everything that I've learned over 4 decades and really put it into this complete program that allows somebody else to live their legacy.
That's so important. Very good. Yeah, I find that when we're doing what we love and we're living our dream, our legacy, really, that it's just like people say, why don't you retire? What, you know, and I'm like, what, are you kidding? I'm having the time of my life right now. I love what I'm creating and doing and being involved in. I mean, I jump out of bed and I have things to do, and it's social for me. I love connecting. And like I'm talking to you right now and everybody listening in, I just think it's a wonderful opportunity. And so for me, that's my happiness. And everybody has their own definition of what happiness or success, whatever you want to call that, what that looks like is so different.
And that's it. I call that living a legacy life. That's it exactly, because you have gone through all of your transitions to be exactly where you are destined to be now. And it just takes faith. It takes some fortitude. It takes some persistence, and it takes some leaps of faith to say, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just going to do it.
Yes. And it's almost, for me, what I have found is in life, I've been humbled many times. I've gone through ups and downs. I wrote about that in my first book, how to overcome obstacles and redesign your life. And so with that, one of the things that I found that's really helpful is just to let go and surrender. Like you let go of all the what I should do, what the Joneses says to do, what the neighbors, everybody thinks you're supposed to do these things, and just allow, you're surrendering to higher power, whatever your belief is, and you're guided to do. And it just like the opportunities show up, and all you have to do is say yes and go do that. And when you're trying on, it's kind of like if you're putting on somebody else's shoes.
Yeah.
They don't fit so well. But when you get into your shoes and your purpose in this life, it is so easy.
Yes,
and
exactly.
You don't want anything else.
Yeah. And it's funny because I remember when I had my software company and I'd, grown it, and we had 15 staff and all of that. It was at that moment where I should have been my happiest, right? I had everything I wanted. I had the 3 kids, my amazing husband, but there was just something missing. And that missing piece was where I started to say, I'm not really doing what I should be. I have not stepped my game up. I'm not on my purpose-driven goals. I'm not living that legacy life. And it really came to fruition one day when my husband was doing a tech support call on the beach with Walmart, because we were serving these massive organizations with the software company. And I was like, okay, we need to pivot here. And that's when actually internet marketing started to come into play. Back in 2005 is when I began there. We were on the internet in 1992 before it was even called that.
Yes.
And so it all started to really gain momentum from these pivot moments. But what I really want people to understand is no matter where you are right now, it needed to be part of your journey so that you could come to that final moment where you're like done with what you're doing, and it's, that it's time for you to step up to that bigger game.
Yes, that's wonderful. And I'd love to hear a little bit about your books.
Sure. My first book was interesting. So my first book was 31 Days to Millionaire Marketing Miracles. And it was really an A to Z of internet marketing, because I had started in the industry, and I saw at events that I was attending, people were buying things that were like 10 steps ahead. And, I'm a certified management accountant. I'm a computer programmer. My logic brain said, no, you're buying something 10 steps later. If you knew that you needed these before that, you would spend your money where you need to spend it today instead of, a year and a half from now.
Right.
So that's where that book originated. And I launched it, and it went to #1 on Amazon. And this is back in 2006 in the 5,000 books in your garage day. You had to print them, press them, the works, right? And so that changed everything for me, though, because that's when people came to me and said, can you coach me through your book? And I said, yeah. I started a program called Entrepreneur in Overdrive. And they were paying me $10,000 to take them through the book. And that's where I made so much money that I'd won New Internet Marketing Success of the Year. I was the first woman to win that, the first woman to be pulled onto the World Internet Summit stages with 15 other men. That's how I've spoken in those 39 countries you heard about. And it was an incredible catalyst of events that occurred. And again, it all was about stepping up to that bigger game.
How wonderful. Yes. And what did you do with Forbes? What was that like?
So Forbes actually brought me on originally to their coaches council to help transform other coaches to really kind of get in those fundamental elements on how do you be an effective coach? How do you build your coaching business? Because it's one thing to be a life coach. Hey, you know that, right? But what you don't know is the fundamentals of marketing and social media and how all of your websites and search engine optimization, all of these things that I have known for 2.5 decades now come into play. So that's where it began. And then they started featuring me in articles and things of that nature, simply because of what I had to say and the role that I was playing in the industry.
Oh, I see. That's wonderful. That makes sense. And that is something, doing business coaching. I started my business coaching because I had these 5,000 plus square foot, it was gift department style stores, so they were little stores. And I had 5. I had 200 employees and all this stuff. So I was working a lot, and I hated paying the rent. I leased the first one at $5,000 a month. And my goal was, it was a 5-year lease. And my goal was to be able to buy a building.
Right.
That time for my second location. I ended up buying all my other buildings. I had 5 stores in total. And I got my real estate license and I started being an investor. Nice. Kind of backwards. Like I get my real estate license after I'm investing all over the place. And so then all the other gift store owners came to me and they were like, can you teach me how you're making more money than me? You're half my age. And what are you doing? And how are you buying the buildings? So I didn't even know it was coaching. I didn't even know the name that they've given it now, but maybe consulting. But they would hire me and they would pay me and I'd help them with their marketing, with their business, and how to do a lot of collaboration marketing. That we worked with the whole shopping park. And then I'd help them buy their building or invest in other properties for exit strategy and through business credit. And so we did this whole thing and I didn't even know. And then I found out later, oh, it's called coaching. Okay. Cool. I've been doing it for how long? And so that was my road. And that's how I got into properties and helping people to diversify in their investments so that they have an exit strategy and they have money. They might be good at doctoring or
that's right.
Coaching, whatever you're good at, but you can't do everything. So you might be the best coach on the planet. I'm thinking Tony Robbins. He is not doing his own SEO and all that stuff. He is not. I'm pretty sure. And so
he appears on stage. That's what Tony does. That's he's in his zone of genius. He's the perfect example, right, of what you should be doing, and let everybody else take care of the rest.
That's it. And so many coaches have been burned. And I am one.
Absolutely. I don't think any of us don't have hey, I invested $100,000 that didn't work out. We all have those stories. And that's, I think, what our experience gives, especially in the coaching programs that we provide.
Yes. So it's one of those things. What do you suggest for listeners to avoid having tech burns like that? Because everybody's got a story of they could have bought a car or a little house, down payment on a nice house, whatever, and they paid for all this tech stuff because they didn't understand it at all.
Right.
And I mean, I understood quite a bit of it. I programmed a JPL before I went into my gift stores. So I kind of have that mind for it.
Yeah.
But still, I didn't want to do those tedious hours and everything else I'm doing. It's just like, there's only so many hours in my day.
Yeah.
And so I gave it to somebody I really trusted that didn't do so good.
Oh
And
yeah, haven't we been there too? That's right. I mean, it's really endless. Well, here's an interesting piece
yeah,
that I've made in the program for that exact reason. You know how you're like, I don't want people to go through what I just did. I had
yes,
invested, like I say, 100 grand in a program, and I won't say that it wasn't valuable. I learned things, but there was no cost recovery. There was no growth. There was all of these lacking pieces for what you would expect at an investment of that level. So
exactly.
one of the things I teach now, in particular, when you're selecting your coach,
Mhm.
is really to pick one. You need to do this. You can't do it yourself. You can't read the label from inside the jar. It was because of coaches that everything great that did ultimately happen to me originated from the investment in myself and the investment through a coach. But what I've started now is doing what is called risk reversal
Mm,
in my own programs. And I don't know if you've heard about it, but here's how it unfolds. And that is you do an investment up front, a small investment up front. So you have skin in the game,
yeah.
and then you don't pay anymore until you've met the benchmarks, the financial benchmarks that we set in place. So 87.5% of the results are now linked to what I do with you and for you so that you achieve and accomplish your goals. And that's what I'm encouraging people to start to look for now,
Mhm.
is somebody that's saying, you know what, I can't give the whole thing because then people don't have it. But if you pay this small amount up front,
Yeah,
why don't you? I'll link everything that happens now to my performance with you. And,
right.
and that is really start seeking that out.
Mm,
Schedule an appointment with me, find out more about it, because that's to me is one of the greatest changes I made, simply for everyone's benefit, right? You don't want someone to go away with a horrible story that's like, oh, I spent 100K and got nothing,
yeah,
right? You want them to go away and say, oh my goodness, I made these benchmarks, 100 grand, 250 grand, and $1 million because this person guaranteed it.
yes. Yes, that's it. And then when you have a return on investment, it's a lot easier. And then it makes sense
Yeah.
based on performance. And that's all you need. And so you have to be careful because you get people. I think I've got so many people here on LinkedIn and everywhere else connected that I get offers every day.
Yeah.
I'll help you with SEO
Yeah.
or I'll help you do XYZ, but I don't know who they are. And it might not be that they're charging that much, but I don't even know they might not be in this country or whatever. And I have no guarantee I'll even see my money again. They
Right.
can
Yeah.
leave tomorrow and take my whatever, even though it's not much. And so that's what's coming along. And I always write them back and say, hey, who do you have that I can see? What
Right.
referrals, what testimonials do you have? What kind of return on investment am I going to make with this? What is this going to do for me? I mean, like most businesses don't even know what it all means. They're not tech savvy. So,
Right.
and I give them this whole like marketing plan. And I would break it down like this, do this, do this, do this, and then come back to me. And if you
Yep.
could show me all those things, I will refer you to people that need that work. But
And
until then, no,
exactly. And even worse now, which is I'm sure you're seeing, right? Like already invested in becoming a prompt engineer with ChatGPT, right?
Mhm.
But how many people out there now are like, I'm a ChatGPT specialist? I'm
Oh,
like,
everybody
are
overnight.
you really?
How did you asked Chat how to do that, and he told you. And
Yeah,
it's
that's right.
really.
I,
He is
I, I
my best
punch
friend, by
something
the
in
way.
him now. Yeah. And so
I
it's
am in love with
really
him. If he was
so.
a man, I would marry him tomorrow.
Oh
I
my God.
I tell him so many times how
Oh
much I
my
love
God. So funny. Well, because I mean, my programs alone, like I have a program called Your $1 Million Design where we launch an online program, right? Guaranteed to sell. And now that has gone from a month time frame to 7, thanks to ChatGPT. honestly, when you use it right and when you work with people that truly know the tool, holy mackerel, it is revolutionary to everything that you do. And I am just, I've been here since punch cards on a mainframe to when a microcomputer was 25 grand, to yellow pages, to every single technological advancement you can imagine. And when ChatGPT came out, I was like, oh, Nelly, this is a game change.
Yeah, this is like a fantasy come true, man.
It
You have
is.
no idea. People don't know what they have with it, and I haven't figured it out yet either. Definitely, you're writing a book, or you have a program on that Chat GTP.
Well, I have 40 books on Chat GPT that my clients are kind of playing with right now. I have two. I think I have maybe just the one up on Amazon, Chat GPT and lead generation. So that's the one I currently have on Amazon. But yeah, I am like all in on this technology because it is the next integrative wave that when you put it together with your program or what you're doing or your marketing efforts, it can not only expedite but revolutionize your results.
Yes, that makes sense. Oh, it's incredible. That's all I can say. That sounds amazing. Yes. And so now let's pretend if I was a new client, what exactly would that look like?
All righty. Well, what that looks like right off the bat is the place I start every single person is, of course, a one-on-one call with me because I need to know where you are, where you want to go. Yeah. And then I take it a step back and it goes back to this destiny, right? And not just a question of what are you passionate about, but why did you come to this planet? What were you put on this planet to do, right? And I actually start to pull out those kind of things. And of course, it will originate back to when you were really, really young. And because we can get kind of sidetracked from the age of 5, right? Hey, you should go this, you should be doing this. Oh, no, that's not for you, And so, but we all came here for a reason. So I actually start there, and then we move forward to great. Who would you like to be working with? What's that perfect fit client? That right fit client. If you could have your dream client. And so we unfold this, kind of like a business by design, right? Normally we're like, okay, I'm great at this. I'm going to go do this and this and this because that makes money and this, all of these things. Well, generally the people I'm working with now, they're done that part of their life. They've done I've worked just for the money. Right. It's not that the money's not going to come. It means it's going to now start to come from what you were born and destined to do. Yeah. That's back to that purpose-driven, kind of divine message that you need to get to the world, that you need to make that kind of that impression and leave that legacy. That's why I call it the legacy life, because we were all meant to be happy. We were meant to be doing what we're supposed to be doing. And when you allow that to happen, that's where that happiness that you're talking about arrives, because so many people, they could be a billionaire, a millionaire, and have it all, and they're not happy. And so this is the perfect time then to say, hey, let's step back and take a look at, not abandon yet, but take a look at what will this look like moving forward, and how can I steer my ship, so to speak, if you've already got a business, how can I start to steer it in that direction? And ensure that I am going to be happy. I am going to make the income that I want. I am going to make the impact that I need to get that message and make the kind of leave that legacy and leave that blueprint on the planet that you really want to do.
Yes, that's beautiful. Well, that sounds fun. So that is an incredible opportunity, and it sounds like something that you do very well. And I can totally feel the energy of how you love doing that. And you're putting the person in front of you that you're working with first. And so I really love that. That's so important when you're choosing anyone to work with. It's always make sure that you're in the equation.
Yes, exactly. And then that they have the supporting materials. Like, I have almost 60 modules, training modules, because it's great for me to say, hey, okay, now we're going to do this. But if you don't know how to do that, right? I don't want you wandering aimlessly in the desert looking for it. I'm like, do this and report back, and do this and report back, or even better, do this and we'll build it.
Yeah. That's so helpful, because it is really easy to end up having somebody give you the real list of what everything you need to do to get to the point you want. And that real list is like, it's like a roadmap from here to the other side of the planet.
Yeah.
And you're like overwhelmed because you just want to do whatever you do best.
Yeah.
And
exactly. That's right. The zone of genius. You don't want to build your own landing page, create those email sequences, set up your marketing funnel. That's not for you to do. That's our zone of genius. And when a person sticks in their own, that's where the happiness is. If you notice, when you're not happy, you're mucking with something you shouldn't be.
That's right. Like you had worked with Obama. Now I met Bill Clinton, who came into my first gift store. And okay, so I'm 20. Okay, maybe I was 24 by this time. I opened at 23. And when he came in, first Secret Service comes in.
Oh my God.
And I had been like rounding my sales tax. Cause like I didn't have point of sale in my store yet. We weren't there yet. I opened in 1993-ish. So now we know my age. Forget that. But anyway, for those listening in, don't do the math. But anyway, so in that, Secret Service comes in, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to prison. I probably messed up on those numbers. Do I run? No, I'll get caught. What do I do? And then it's the president. It was such an honor. But at the same time, the next day, I handed everything over to the CPA. I said, correct what needs to be corrected, do what needs to be done, get me cleaned up, because I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
That's all I needed.
And I'm a certified management accountant. I don't want to do my own books. I don't want to do that at all. I only became that because the software that I was developing integrated to ACPAC and Great Plains and Sage and all of those, right? Yes. And I just wanted everybody who was buying our software to feel confident that we had been following all of the protocols.
Yes, I hear you. Yeah, that's wonderful. So that's incredible. Wow. And now, how do people get started with you? What would be the first step if they wanted to work with you or just read your book, depending on where they're at? How would that work?
Well, you can go to quantumleaplegacy.com. You can grab a free gift from us. And then if you are so inclined, jump on a call. You can book one right there, jump on a call with me. And don't feel like, oh, I'm not ready. Yeah. I'll know if you're ready. And if you're not, trust me, I would say, you know what, we're not quite ready for this, but do this. You see, I have such a broad range of offerings, I'll call them, that if you're not ready for up here, I don't want you to go wandering in the desert looking for a glass of water when I have a glass of water over there that chances are you can afford that. Okay. So, and it's a straight line build to this, right? So that's probably so yeah, if you go to quantumleaplegacy.com, and obviously, you're welcome to also connect with me anywhere in social media, with my name at Tracy Repchuk. I'm literally, that's the brand, and that's the one that you're going to find me with. You can go to my website and take a look and start to peruse, kind of what the messaging is, and if that's aligning to you. All of these will start to come together for you. And that's the way you want to assess anybody, is their messaging and what they're saying resonating with you? Because I help you discover your destiny, align your goals, transform your marketing, and live a legacy. And that's how we unpack you.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Tracy. And it looks like we are at the end of our time today. But thank you again for being a special guest on the show. And for those tuning in, you can watch the replay if you go to SheilaMac.com, and there'll be a free gift for you. And again, Tracy, where could people go to get started? You said there was a free gift. Which site do they go to for that? One more time.
Go to quantumleaplegacy.com.
Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you again. And thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you next time. Thank you again for tuning in. And right now, this month, we have a special giveaway offer. And you will get a special pass to see the recorded and live interview Jay Abraham and Roland Frazier sharing about their new book, Business Wealth Without Risk. And you can go to SheilaMac.com, and there on the events page, you will see the link to get your free pass. That is my gift for you, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the show.